Okay, let's try this again, which seems to be just the way I do everything. I keep trying. I'm trying, I'm like the little train that could, the little locomotive or engine that could. Keep trying to get up that hill. It is Saturday. It's raining. It's overcast. It's not actively raining right this minute, as you can see. I have tried my level best. I really have. Over the past 10 days or so to make videos, and I have made 10 or 12 videos. Let me show you this before it gets burned down too far. This is an outstanding cigar. I'm not going to do you wrong. Not going to do you wrong. If you haven't tried this cigar, you owe it to yourself to try it. Can you read that? Tabac Especial. Yeah. Tabac Especial. This is an incredible, incredible cigar. Incredible, dude. Incredible. One of the best cigars ever. Let me get my coffee over here. Voila. Through the magic of YouTube Fitness, I've been able to get my sleight of hand, right? YouTube Fitness. I've been able to get my coffee that quickly. Look at that shit. Wink of an eye. Alright, so I've tried to make videos. Then I watch them back again, and I don't like the way that they come off, because I know where I'm at and what I'm thinking, but I'm not elucidating my perspective as clearly as I would like, so I continually try again. And I've just come to the conclusion that there's so much to talk about. So much is actually going on in our world. You can't tell that from YouTube Fitness, but so much out there going on in our society today, that you have to focus on a little piece at a time. Otherwise, it just gets such a cluster bomb, and the video doesn't. It does a poor job of relating anything on any aspect of it. First, I did my George Floyd video. I explained to you how I felt about that, and I think there's no surprise there. I don't know anybody that would defend the officer, the actions of that officer, or any of those officers that were involved in the murder of George Floyd. Yeah, I've seen, well, he was a criminal. Well, he had some pretty bad, slimy shit in his history on his record. And then I've seen the other side. Well, he's been trying to change his ways since he's been, really? Toxicology report, he was on meth and fentanyl. Or he had it in his system. Now, come on, don't give me this knee-jerk reaction shit. I'm just repeating facts, and you're going to act like, oh, he doesn't care about George Floyd's life. Yeah, I do. The man didn't deserve to die. The police aren't supposed to be vigilante executioners. And they were checking him out at that moment. They came into contact and had an interaction with him because he was accused of trying to pass a counterfeit $20 bill in a store. Nobody should die for something like that. Nobody should take another person's life, period, unless they're absolutely forced to. And that was, you know what that was. I don't know a single person that's seen that and hasn't been mortified by it and repulsed by it. It's very clear what happened there. It's very clear. There's no point to argue as far as that case there. No point to argue there. And as far as Black Lives Matter. Do Black Lives Matter? Yeah. Of course Black Lives Matter. Of course they do. Of course they do. I'm offended that we have to break everything down by color. It's 2020 in the United States. Here we are. We still have to, it all comes down to color. We have to define a man. We have to make particular mention of the skin tone, his skin tone. Is that how we define a man or a woman? Is that how you want to be defined, really? And the other thing is this is all orchestrated by people that have an agenda, not by the people at street level, the people you can't reach, people that you put in office and above. Yeah, I hear you. Oh, it's conspiracy. It's not. It's just common sense. They're your elected officials. They don't represent you. They don't do what you put them in office to do, and yet they continually are reelected. They live out their entire lives in office. It's ridiculous. They accomplish jack shit except for a lot of talk. A lot of talk. But as long as they can keep us separate, They can easily control us. It's sleight of hand. It's like a shell game. Nobody sees what's going on over here or what I'm doing with this hand. As long as with this hand, I'm stirring up turmoil and dividing us. As long as I'm dividing us, divide and conquer, as long as I'm dividing us, I can go over here and I'm free to do my thing and run my scam, run my game. So, first thing we need to get past is you're a black American. You're a white American. You know, you're an Asian American. You're Native American. Native Americans a little bit different because they also are sovereign. You know, if they're on the reservation, living on reservation land, and they really got the short end of that fucking stick. I mean, they survived attempted genocide and everything else by the United States government. Anyway. But the sooner we stop breaking this down and defining us as various colors rather than just Americans. When we put a color in front of that, you know, don't you see that they're diminishing you? They're diminishing your contribution and your value and your position as an American citizen in these United States. They're making you less than equal just by that. Just by that. You know. And then you see these Democrats, and they're all going to take a knee wearing this kente cloth, right? This African, they are attributing it to be just that they don't know anything. They don't care. You understand? Don't you understand that they don't care? They don't really care. Do you know what that cloth was? Do you know what that cloth represents? That cloth? That pattern? Those colors? That one? You know what that represents? Well, you should do a little Google and a little search and a little research. It represents a very wealthy African family that made their money through slavery, not as slaves, through slavery, in the slave trade. Isn't that ironic as hell? These Democrats are going to take a knee and they're going to don this slave trader's cloth from Africa because they're right there with you, you know. They feel you. They don't. They do not care. They don't care. They think you're stupid. They think you're stupid. Why else would they do that right in your face? Because they don't even take the time to find out for themselves because they don't really care. They just want to throw something out there. And then if any one of them knew, if anybody knew, which somebody probably knew, they just figure out they're not going to know. It's the gesture that counts. Because that's all it is, just a gesture. Just a gesture. And it's so much bullshit that people can't see that. You know what? I think a lot of people see it. There's a lot of people that I know that see it, that have various different color skin tones, and they aren't in agreement with a whole bunch of shit that's been going on, the destruction, the looting, robbing, killing, shootings, burnings, you know, all the arsons, and all these arsons, you know, who really pays the price for all this shit? People at the bottom. People at the bottom, man. The least among us, so to speak. They're no lesser, no greater, but the folks that are the most disenfranchised, the folks that have, that are closer to a poverty level, the folks that have less money and less resources and elderly or infirm, that they don't have the ability to get out of that neighborhood. They need the resources. They need the infrastructure that's there. You know, the average older American is on at least one medication. Most of the time, it's very typical for the average older American to be on several medications. Now these folks, you know, a lot of these folks, real shit here, can't get their medication because a lot of them don't drive, don't have a car, they don't have the means or ways or means to go and get anything any distance. They rely on the infrastructure in the neighborhood. They're neighborhood people. Those are the people that are hurt most from this. Because now the local pharmacy, local drugstore, it's not there anymore. Where they would go buy their groceries at. Not there anymore. And if you really care, before you tell me, oh, this is bullshit, well, you know, just look on YouTube even. Just a little YouTube. That little resource. Search for videos on it. You'll see plenty of people in these neighborhoods that are on there filming videos of themselves in these stores, what's left of them, and talking about what are they going to do now. And this isn't even to consider the small business owners that in that area of all skin tones that aren't going to be able to reopen. I saw one guy, he couldn't reopen because it cost so much and the damage was so extensive and the theft was so extensive and all he had was liability. So he's done. That store's gone. You know, and then we talk about, well, let's reallocate some of these funds, take it away from the police, put it into these neighborhoods. That's one suggestion. How much money are you going to continue to throw at a problem before you see that that's not the problem? You know, if it's just going to be burned down or destroyed or looted, why are you going to keep throwing money at something like that? That's why a lot of retailers flee out of these neighborhoods, because the economy isn't there to support them. So you have mostly smaller businesses, mostly a lot of little homegrown businesses. They believe in that neighborhood. They rely on the neighborhood relies on them. And then look, now they're out of business. So, good job, good job. I mean, most likely everybody out there is related to somebody that's getting up there in age. Most people are related to elderly people or infirm people or people with special needs or concerns or children. And none of those individuals, any of this is good for. You know, all the statues we're going to tear down now, that's the answer. You know, a lot of this movement has been hijacked. The peaceful protesters exercising their First Amendment right, their voices have been, I'm not going to say diminished, but I'm going to say that they've been drowned out to a certain extent now. Because what's taken center stage? The violent acts, the criminal acts, the arsons, the looting. You know, there are a percentage of these people that are genuine, that believe what they're protesting, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But a lot of people now, through whatever their various motivations are, have hijacked this opportunity. Because that's what they look at it as, you know. Never let a good crisis go to waste. And then this particular video, the heart of this video, now I want to say one more thing before we get to that. And that is all the networking I tell you about, all the brotherhood, and I've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. That's concrete, you know what I mean? So, like here, we've got plenty of that. Plenty of that. I have plenty of that, and my brothers and sisters have plenty of that in return. I'm not going to let anything happen to them if I can help them. They're not going to let anything happen to me if they can help me. United we stand. Yeah, so if we can't stand united as a country like we should, we're going to stand united. We're going to look out for each other, no matter what it is. If it's food, if it's shelter, if it's safety, if it's security. You get me? You feel me? Yeah, and guess what? If you see what that looks like, if it comes to that, you know, we're going to protect what's ours. We're going to protect our families. We're going to protect our children. We're going to protect our parents and our grandparents and whoever we're fortunate enough to still have here on this earth. Whatever it is we love, we're going to defend it. We're going to protect it. And what that's going to look like, if you got to reduce it to color, is every single color of the rainbow you can imagine. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If we got to be something other than just American citizens, citizens of these United States, we have people of Chinese descent. We have people of Korean descent. We have people of Indian descent. We have people of Native American descent. We have people from the Dominican Republic of Latino descent, Hispanic descent, Mexican descent, you know, Cuban descent, Puerto Rican descent. And most of us are just all mixed up anyway. But if you just look at it for face value and you got to designate a color to everybody, you would see every shade of the rainbow. Literally. You see all kinds of shades. All kinds of shades. But you can bet one thing, we're united. It's just like, talk to combat vets. Talk to combat vets. That's not about color. It's about the United States, American citizens. You got your brother's back, your brother's got your back, or your sister's got your back, you got her back. You're looking out for each other. And have a damn thing to do with color, skin color. And it diminishes who and what we are and what we're supposed to at best be, what we're hoping to live up to, what the flag represents, the ideals it represents that we fall short of, but we should strive a whole lot harder every day to fulfill. Rats. But the gist of this video mainly is I want to talk very quickly about this thing in Seattle. This autonomous zone, CHAZ or CHOP, whatever the hell they're calling it. A lot of bad shit going on there. You figure just give it enough time, give it enough time, give it enough time, you'll start to see some real shit happening. And it is. Now you got a shooting there. So my cops are looking for a shooter. Now you know this ain't the first shooting there. This ain't the first crime there. Or, oh, well, it's mostly peaceful. It's mostly like just a bunch of happy-go-lucky flower children, basically. It's a street festival. It's a summer of love. Well, tell that to the people that are being victimized. Tell it to the people that live nearby or in there that can't get in and out. Tell that to the business owners that reportedly are being extorted. I'm sure that they would call it something else, not the business owners. They call it extortion. But I'm sure that the residents of this little community would call it something else, that they have to pay money to stay open inside there, and they're afraid to say anything, most of them. But one or two of them has put a video up and spoken out. So there's a lot of bad shit going on in there. And you got a governor and you got a mayor that think it's all fine. It's okay. So my feeling is, leave it alone. All right? Leave it alone. Stay out of it. Yeah, it sucks for the people that are going to be victimized, but you know what? You got to take that up with your elected public officials. That's where you should be protesting. That's who you should be bitching toward. You know, if you're on the wrong end of these things out there now, and you're in a disagreement with this shit, that's who you need to be knocking on their doors, wondering what the hell they're going to do about it. Why'd you put their asses in office? And then you get on to a whole other topic. How are we putting these people in office to represent we the people, and they just unilaterally make decisions and enact them, okay? Like they're going to defund their police departments, or they're going to dissolve portions of the police department. Anybody vote on this? Because I can tell you right now, the majority of U.S. citizens aren't for that. The majority aren't for that. And you know what democracy is? We hear a lot of people talking about fascism and Nazis and all this other shit, right? Throwing these things around. But they don't know what they're talking about anyway. They call that an autonomous zone. There's nothing autonomous about it. If we're a democracy, then that means if we're all co-workers and it's lunchtime and we're sitting, you know, where we work, and maybe we have a grill outside, special occasions, a little grill. So we're going to decide, hey, you guys want to grill some hot dogs and burgers today for lunch, or want to just get pizzas, order pizzas? Some want one, some want the other. So we vote. Majority rules. Okay, so we're going to have pizza. I would prefer a burger, but okay, well, you know, we're going to have pizza. I'm not going to stand up, stomp up and down and cry and scream and holler about that. Majority rules. That's true democracy. So why is the minority right now, and I'm not talking colors like I told you, because we're multicolored. It's an insult to me. I think it's a disgrace to even diminish any human being to just the color of their skin. But why is the minority deciding for the majority now? Why don't they ask we the people? I think because it's easier to just appease them. Because they don't really care. They don't really want to fix any of these complex issues. They don't want to address any of this for real. They just want to throw them a bone. They just want to, you know, throw them something immediate gratification to try and chill out so they don't really have to work very hard to do their jobs. That's what these elected officials want to do. Now we want to get rid of cops, and cops, they don't want to do their jobs because they can't do their jobs. Okay? So we get rid of them. Rather than fix the problem, rather than find ways to get the bad ones out. And there's plenty of ways to do that. I have a suggestion for one. I think that whatever area the local precinct or local police department serves, that area should have a board of elected citizens. We should have a council, hopefully as unbiased as it can be, and that council, anytime there's any kind of conflict or any kind of there's something needs resolved or any kind of allegation or anything goes south, or maybe we got a bad actor wearing a badge and something bad happens, that council should get access to every shred of evidence that's available. They should sit down and review it. They should come to a conclusion on what should be done out of all whatever alternatives exist, legally or whatever have you, professionally. And that decision should weigh in on a percentage basis to what the actual ruling turns out to be. Right? Like, I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't know. There's smarter people than me that could figure this out. But say this community council says, you know, we think that this guy should be prosecuted. Okay? They want to convict him. They think it's murder. All right. Well, that should count for 1/3. I think 1/3, that input. And then they go on and do whatever investigation, whatever else they have. They probably do all the investigations first so that they can see all the evidence. I think that would be the right way to go. But anyway, their input should count. I mean, for real, should count. Anyway, I have a lot of other ideas, but all cops aren't bad. So now we're going to get rid of the police force. Cops can't do their jobs. They're afraid to do their jobs. They feel like they've been betrayed. You know, all the good cops that you'll want out there, who's going to want to do that job now? All right, so they're walking off. They're calling out sick, which I don't blame them. But again, it's one of these cases, who pays the price of that? The innocent people. The innocent people. That's who pays the price for it. Look at a place like Chicago, and yeah, I'm going to go there because everybody's familiar with it. Okay, so you know I'm not making shit up. How many murders occur in Chicago? Every month, every weekend, every year. Too many. Too many. How many do you think will occur when you take the police department out of that equation? You don't think there are going to be more murders? Then you're a damn fool. There'll be more. There'll be more. And here's one of the key problems. Half of these bad actors that commit these acts, half of these people shooting everybody, they can't hit shit. It's infamous that they pop off how many rounds. They discharge how many rounds. They don't hit usually any of the people that they're shooting at, and a stray goes through a window and kills some little girl doing her homework. Had nothing to do with nothing. Got to answer this. Oh, Lord, so where were we? So the main thing I want to talk about is autonomous zone. I know I'm off track. There's so much to talk about. This is why I haven't been able to get any videos up, because I keep going off track. Because there's so much to consider. So much to talk about. Autonomous zone. Do these people know what autonomy means? This is the autonomous zone where they are anything but autonomous. They're not autonomous. They can't make it on their own. They're surviving off the public doyle. It's public water they're surviving off of. They're surviving off. Are they making their own electricity? Establishing their own grid? No. No. Where's all the food coming from? Are they taking care of themselves, feeding themselves, which is spontaneous generation with food and supplies and things they need? No. It's all being piped in from somewhere. So they're completely not autonomous. It's a bunch of, basically it's been reduced to a bunch of crazy, I don't know what, completely irresponsible and just behaving however they want to be. Drug use is rampant. Tell me it's bullshit. Tell me that's bullshit. There's naked people running around occasionally. There's citizens patrolling. Okay, first of all, these are liberals, I assume. They're from all different backgrounds, right? Because like I said, a lot of people have hijacked this and they have their own agendas. But they have, and of course the obvious shit everybody's pointed out. You know, first thing they do, oh, we can't have a wall. That's really racist. We need open borders. Well, they put up a wall. First thing they can do. So they put up a wall. They put up blockades. All right, cordon off their area. What's the next thing that they do? Well, next thing that they do, we don't want people to exercise Second Amendment right. We got to get rid of all the guns. Well, now they have people with guns. They have people with guns, and we don't want any police. Well, now they've established basically what amounts to their own police. You know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then just check it out for yourself. If you don't give a shit, that's fine too. But you'll probably give a shit if it begins to affect you or one of your loved ones. You know. Anyway. It's insanity. I don't know where it's going to end, what it's going to amount to. It's something different every single day. It's just, never thought I would see some craziness like this, and so many people fall for this bullshit. So many people fall for this bullshit, just like this COVID horse shit now. I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. But you know what? Look at all these protesters. Half of them would have already fallen over and be out of the equation altogether. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but at least this is like a living experiment where we have seen this thing is not as fatal as they want to make it out to be. As close quarters as they've been, right? And now I've told you about the other studies, right? I told you about the study from University of Southern California concluded the number of people who have actually had it is probably 10 times greater than what they suspect in California, because that's where the study was. So basically we've all had it. We've already had it. It's most people asymptomatic. Okay, then the study out of Stanford University, right, that concluded it's no more lethal than the common flu, common influenza. Okay, it's just that if everybody had it all at one time, had the flu at one time, you're going to see more people die. All right, then the next thing is, if you're asymptomatic, you still need to wear a mask, right? Because this thing's so devastating that obviously you're not stumbling around, walking around, conducting social affairs out in the world when you actively have it. Okay, I know there's a period of gestation or whatever, right? But bear with me a minute. So even if you might still have it, even if you feel fine, you're asymptomatic, which most people now, it turns out, are. The overwhelming majority are. But you got to wear that mask so you don't give it to anybody. Well, now they found out you're not contagious if you're asymptomatic. So how much more bullshit are they going to shove down our throats this year? I've reached my limit. I've reached my limit, I'm going to tell you. Am I going to wear a mask if they say I need to wear a mask to go in somewhere, conduct my affairs? Yes, of course I am. Of course I am. I've been going to all kind of medical places over this leg, wearing a mask everywhere I go. You know, yeah, I'm going to comply. Sure, because if it puts other people at ease that they have terrified, then I'm going to do it, whether it's a grocery store or wherever the hell, right? But I don't maintain any fear about this thing. Not about this. I'd be more concerned with what's going on in our society with this social unrest. And there is some legitimacy to a lot of the outcry, but not to the extent they're trying to cram this shit down our throats. So, I mean, look, now they're destroying statues of Union generals. They don't know their history any more than they understand what autonomy means. They really don't. Anyway, that's it. That's it. If you hung in this long, okay, I vented. That's what I got to say about it. The other thing I got to say is stay prepared. Stay prepared. Keep everything oiled and functioning like it should. Stay prepared. That's all I got to say. Stay prepared. You know, keep your eye out. And if any of our brothers and sisters are afraid, if any of them need anything that we can provide, whatever it is, let me know. Let me know. I just couldn't make another video about how to get bigger triceps or, you know, how to increase your bench and act like that everything on YouTube Fitness we live in like a vacuum. When all this is going on, that shit counts for nothing compared to this. Anyway, that's all I got to say. I guess we'll figure out what's going on soon. Something's going to give somewhere along the way. You guys take care. Have an awesome day.